Staff Sergeant Jocelyn, or Martinez, or as affectionately she likes to be known as
Selena Martinez.
Selena Martinez. And she's from the 488th Intelligence Squadron here at RAF Mildenhall. And there's really no designated script per se, as you can tell. We started off randomly, and there's probably a multitude of topics that we can cover. Although you've already warned me that I can't get too detailed into what you do day to day, because then you might have to report me as a spy or something. But I don't want to get you in trouble, and I don't want to get in trouble. So we'll steer clear from that. All right. So we've got some of those things. You told me what's we get sound effects.
Yeah.
Hometown. How about that? Let's talk about you. Let's talk about you. Where'd you grow up?
So I grew up in Austin, Texas.
Oh, nice. What's the saying for Austin, Texas?
Keep
Austin
Austin weird.
Keep Austin weird.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, I grew up in Austin, Texas, and where I came from, I actually grew up pretty poor, actually. So I grew up in a very poor family. It was very dysfunctional. I've been adopted a couple of times, and a lot of it had to do, just with everyone's struggles going on. There was alcohol or drug related or anything like that. So that ultimately led to the dysfunction in my family. And so I've been homeless, living from house to house, or when I was a kid, I'd wake up in one house or different in another one and be family friends or friends, and that went on for a little while until I found a family that took me in and then gave me guidance and everything like that. But I think the biggest thing though is, with all of this that was happening in my life, I had a lot of unstructured going on, and so I found the military for that structure, which is why I joined the Air Force.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow, that is not what I expected. I expected some fairy tale discussion about how great life was in Texas, and that you maybe joined on a whim or wanted to go explore the world, but no.
I actually researched for my job specifically. It wasn't exactly something that was recommended for me, just because my ASVAB scores weren't super high. Usually for my career field, they recommend those with 85 and above, and I had a 77, and the cutoff for the Airborne Cryptologic Linguist analyst was a 72. So I did my research, and I was like, man, if I join the Air Force, I want to be able to do it and do something that I want to do. So I did my research, I looked up all the jobs, all the descriptions, and I was like, man, I really like this one. I want to travel, I want to learn a language, I want to do this route. It had super long training, which I wasn't opposed to. I loved school. School was my escape when I was a child. I went to school all the time, and I stayed at school most of the time if I could. So I chose that job, and I actually waited in the DEP program for a whole year for my job.
Neat. And so, yeah, you said the DEP program, so delayed entry. And when you were thinking about this, you said you just barely met the cutoff. But some of that is probably related to the type of tests. I'm sure you said you like school, so you're probably pretty good in school. So decent grades.
So this is where I've always excelled at things physically, and not so much academically. I always had to take extra classes for anything like physics, any math, especially math. And I always took that extra, even though I struggled so much. I always pushed harder to do better in school.
I think it spelled out that you had to work really hard, and you weren't afraid to work hard to chase after your, kind of dream per se. And so that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, I always was working a little bit harder than everybody else. That came more natural to them.
Sure.
And a part of me wonders, why did I do this, even though I know I could pick the easier route? And I think it's also just sort of me trying to prove to myself that I can do whatever I set my mind to, and that honestly, that started this whole self-development journey for myself, because I did have a lot of things. I did get depressed when I was younger with my circumstances and situation, and stuff wasn't easy, but I took solace in improving myself and like putting my head in the books and surrounding myself by people I knew would help me be on the right path.
It's amazing to know that, one, your dedication to excellence, right? You said something really important there. You could have taken the easy route, but you chose to challenge yourself and put yourself out there. I sometimes use this phrase, you need to get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because when you're uncomfortable, it means you're really challenging and pushing yourself to beyond what you think your boundary is.
The family that adopted me last, they, like, being uncomfortable became my new comfortable, basically. And I knew that I wasn't really progressing if I was always comfortable. A big thing for me was learning self-forgiveness. To forgive myself for doing what I did when I was trying to survive. I had a lot of self-loathing. I didn't think that I had a purpose in life. And my family tried to show me that I needed to find that purpose, that drive and that passion. And the first thing they did was to take the words "I can't" out of my vocabulary. Anytime I go out and do something, like I'm part of a fitness team in Thetford, and we have this huge competition coming up, and there's there's a lot of physical challenges that go on, and we have to improve through that. We have to get stronger, and sometimes you can't climb the rope or something, and it's just too hard. You can only do it once. And not any more than that, but that's still improvement, and you can't say I can't.
That's right.
You have to keep going up, and you have to keep trying, and then you come back next week and maybe it's 2 times, and then the next week it's 3 times. And so it's just taking those small steps, as my mom said, just take it a step at a time and a day at a time. Yeah,
you're seeing the results, and that helps encourage you to do more and push harder. The fitness thing, tell me about this fitness thing. I want to know a little bit more about this Thetford challenge that you guys are trying to compete in.
Yes, so there's this huge competition in July called Tribal Clash, and it is team-based exercises. So we're on part of a team. There's 3 males, 3 females, and we go up to Devon, I believe it is, about 5 hours away from here on the beach. And we basically have to strategize as a team and work on these workouts together and try to finish as fast as we can with the highest results. I think joining this challenge gives me the opportunity to meet a bunch of different people, and then to just build camaraderie.
Camaraderie.
Camaraderie. I can't say the word.
Yeah, I guess, by at least submitting and joining a team, you're holding yourself accountable, right?
Yes.
Because if you didn't have a competition, and it'd probably be at some point in time be like, this is too hard. Why am I going through all this pain and agony when there's no real outcome or goal? You said camaraderie, and I know that you speak a second language, so how would you say that in Russian?
Tavarishi.
It's a close...
there might be a specific word for camaraderie, but I can't think of it right now.
Right, but if you heard that, what did you say again? Could you say it again?
Tavarish.
Tavarish. If you heard Tavarish, you would know that it's in that area of the language, that translation piece of it.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. I want to say that I speak another language, and it's partly true. I grew up, with my family. I don't know if you know my background, but heritage-wise, both my parents emigrated from Thailand.
Oh.
And so, the beautiful thing is that, when I was like this big, I was absolutely fluent in Thai. And then when I got this much bigger, I started interacting with kids, and they said, hey, this guy, I like him, but I can't understand him. And so, right, the whole thing is your parents say, well, all right, we're going to have to teach you English. And so how about this? We're going to talk to you in Thai. You answer back in English. And so my ear it's pretty good with Thai. But when I try to speak, it's all jumbled. And it comes out.
Yeah, it's perishable language.
It's a perishable. You don't practice it. And so it's a little bit harder, to do that. So how long was your course of study for Russian?
Oh, for me, I had some delays. So for me, it was maybe 3 years and some change.
Whoa. Wow.
Yeah, it's one of the longest trainings in the Air Force.
Yeah.
For the Airborne Cryptologic Language Analyst specifically. We start off in Texas, as everyone does, and then we go to California to the Defense Language Institute at Monterey.
Yeah.
We're there, depending on our language, for anywhere between 6 months to a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to intelligence training in Goodfellow. We could be there, again, it depends on the language, but a few months. And then we go to SEER training, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Now, and not just regular beatings, you go advanced beatings.
Yeah. It's like the best training that I'm so glad that I had, but never want to do again.
Exactly.
And so we were there for a month, and then you go, and then you PCS to Offutt Air Force Base in Nebraska.
So, but then you were at Offutt, and then you PCS'd here.
Yes.
Okay. Biggest challenge that you kind of have said is a milestone besides the one in July? Is there like I want to climb Mount Everest, I want to go to Machu Picchu, or
I think it's more of an internal challenge. For me, I think it's more I want to practice consistency and self-discipline. I know that I can procrastinate a lot, and there's just a lot of like shadow work going on.
That's great. I think I've said it on a few occasions. I certainly try to tell young airmen like yourself that the best thing you can do is try and always work towards a better version of yourself.
Yes,
right?
And just meeting more and more thresholds.
Yes.
Oh, I made it this far, and I'm like, oh, what do I do now? I remember my goals when I started with my family.
Yeah.
I didn't have any passion. Remember, I talked about that.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know what I want in life. I didn't know at that time. I was like, a house, a car, a husband, a family. The cookie cutter American dream with the white picket fence.
Sure.
And then by the time I was 25, I was like, I have almost over half of that already. I was like, I don't think that was the goals and dreams that I wanted. And then I started doing more self-journey, self-discovery, and figuring out what it is that I really want.
What more could the Air Force do for you, as far as, you're how many years you have right now? You're at 6?
Yes, about 7.
Okay. And then a goal, is it to maybe potentially go out to at least 20 years or finish a degree? Do you have a degree already?
I do not. I'm one class, a math class, away from my CCAF.
Okay.
And I think after I get my math class, one other class away from my DLI AA degree. And then after that, I'm also working on a bachelor's for multidisciplinary studies in management information systems.
Yep.
So I'm halfway through my bachelor's degree in that. So I have all of these 2 AA degrees and a bachelor's degree in the works, but I don't have a complete one just yet.
Yeah, I've been there. Okay, got it. That's okay. So I guess then, focus, get your CCAF.
Yes,
please do
I need
that.
to find the time to do that. I have all these goals that I want to do in life, and while I'm here, because I know I have such a short time right now, because I'm not guaranteed extra time, but definitely trying to work on that, because I do I am thinking about commissioning as one of my goals, but I do have to really hit that bachelor's degree hard though if I want to get there.
I'm glad you've got some ideas or thoughts about continuing service. I think it'd be great. It'd be an awesome opportunity to have you kind of cross over into the officer ranks. The most important part is that you're staying in. What I hear you say often is you've developed ways to counter, ways to cope, ways to be resilient even when some things don't work out in your favor. You always try to find the positive side of it. So that's really admirable. Wise beyond your years is what I would say.
Oh, thank you. I have a few gray hairs, I sure.
Oh, do you? Oh, yeah. I'm working on one. And so, I've been pretty lucky. It's all genetics based, but I'm working on one. I call it Cassius Bentley because my vice, he gives me gray hair. Yeah. Not gray hairs, but gray hair. One. Anyways, you haven't met him yet, but he's a great human being. Okay, so let's see here. So we've talked about your life in the Air Force, your growth, the potential of continuing in the Air Force. Where do you see yourself, maybe, let's call it 20 years from now? Do you know? Have you thought about that?
I think if I was to for sure say something that I'm going to do in the future is that I think I want to adopt a child.
Oh.
Yes, because I was an adopted child.
Right.
I want to also adopt a child. Whether I was like single or married or not, I know you can do it as a single person.
Sure.
But I for sure want to adopt a child. I think that's just like sort of me giving back.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we do these things, myself, Chief Glasscock, and Cassius Bentley, the Vice. We actually go around, and whenever we have opportunities, we take pictures of incredible airmen and some of the things that they're doing. We say it all the time. You know, just watch the airmen. They will wow you. And so you're one of those individuals that would certainly wow us, and definitely worthy of one, being the first person on Tanker Talk, and two.
A little bit nervous.
No, you're doing fantastic. And of course, we're going to capture the moment with a selfie, because I like taking selfies. And yeah, I just tell you that I know there's always somebody that wants to critique how I do the selfie. Please don't. Okay. Don't do that. Because what happens is like I'll do this thing, right, and I'll get us in there, and the perfect one is like something like this, you know, all framed and in focus. But then usually what I do is I put my finger in the lens. All right, so ready? 1, 2, and oh wait, we got a little camera. Yeah, no wait. What?
Oh, you want me? Okay.
Photobomb. All right, ready? 1, 2, and 3. All right. So in closing, I really wanted to say thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us on this first edition, and hopefully of many more. The other thing I would say is thank you for what you're doing, because without airmen like you that have a certain amount of talent and skill for what we need as an Air Force, I think we'd be in some serious trouble. So you do some incredible work. I'm glad you're on our team. And you know, I'm just so ecstatic, because there's everybody has a story, right? And your story is definitely something that I wasn't expecting right away. But what you're sharing and what you opened up to us was really incredible. And so your resiliency, your drive for self-improvement, your goal setting is really, really admirable. So I just want to say thank you for everything that you're doing. And it was a pleasure to have you on our first Tanker Talk. Okay?
It was a pleasure to be here, sir.
All right. Thank you.